Well, I've been using Schneider filters from day one when I started being a cinematographer. I love their filters, the whole range. Mostly I use the True actually, although my favourite diffusion filter is the Schneider Classic Soft, which I just continue. I come back to. I've used all sorts of different diffusions, but I just love the subtlety of those filters. The way they're constructed with the little dots, the lenslets almost, allow contrast to come through. Sometimes with diffusion, they create a milkiness that I kind of react against. The Schneider Classic Softs really preserve contrast in an image as well as allowing the highlights to bloom. I suppose the filter that I use most is the Pola, the True Pole. I really love that, the quality of it. Sometimes the polarizers have a tinge of, from other manufacturers, have a tinge of color that kind of you don't want to introduce, particularly the green. And the Schneider True Pole doesn't have that. It has quite a neutral look, and it the degree to which the polarization effect comes in as you twist it is quite controlled too, and it's deeper at its full bite. I really love the one stop polarizer, which has saved my bacon on a number of occasions. The Schneider polarizers, particularly the one stop polarizer, because obviously there is stop loss with that filter. But on Nocturnal Animals, which I just recently shot for Tom Ford, we were in failing light towards the end of the day, and you really, every stop counts. Particularly, we were shooting on film, which was a great joy. And that one stop polarizer saved us. It saved me, firstly, going to either push the stock or go into a higher speed stock when I'd already shot the rest of the scene on a slower speed stock. So there was a great advantage in that filter. In terms of the diffusions, it's really lovely because you can introduce the classic softs at a very subtly. You know, when the effect of diffusion isn't heavy handed, and you just want to take the edge off it, whether it's an actor who needs a little bit of help, but you don't want to draw attention to the fact that you're employing a diffusion filter per se. So I love it for that. It's also got a really interesting effect that I've used a few times and exacerbated a little bit by anamorphic, is that the bouquet is enhanced with the Schneider Classic Soft. The bouquet becomes kind of spectral in a way, as well as just being the classic C series bouquet. There's a beautiful fringing that happens with the Classic Soft that I love very much. It's quite unique. Well, I tend to use heavier filtration in digital. With film, I'm at the lower numbers, and I think that with digital, if I'm shooting on, I have an Alexa XT, for instance, and I find that it cuts through, the sensor kind of cuts through the diffusion quicker. So I tend to be up the higher numbers when I'm using those sorts of diffusions. It's interesting actually talking about digital and film and the use of filtration, because I've always liked to use color filters whenever I can. I really like the statement of intent that using color creates, and it's quite different actually when you put real light through real glass. It is a different look to grading a film in a with a particular color hue. The way the filtration works affects subtly all the other colors within the frame, and it creates unexpected results that you can see with your eye as you look through the filter, and that's something that sometimes you miss when you're grading a film in the digital intermediate. The digital filtration just doesn't have the same natural feel, and it's something that I try to, particularly color grads, or even the warming filters, the corals, or the 812, for instance, is a filter I use a lot, even on digital. It's interesting. I grew up as a cinematographer having to do it all in camera. You really, and I love that idea of baking in your intention as a cinematographer, and that involves the choice of stock, the type of processing you're going to use, and it extends to filtration as well. And I really love, even with warming or cooling filters, grads, and to put it on the camera, and the director knows, the producers know what you're going for. It's a look that, for instance, on the hours, that we really tested each look, and were very specific about the type of filtration that was used. And it creates an atmosphere on the set, because there you have it right in front of you, what you're getting. When you look through that camera, you're seeing what you're going to get. And I love that, because doing it all in post is very dangerous for a start, because oftentimes you're not there, the cinematographer is not around in post. So the paradigm of possibilities that can be introduced in terms of filtration, or the direction that your film is going to take in color terms, is kind of scary. So I love the idea of doing it in camera.